Good morning, folks. This is Janie with Graham's Backyard Living, and I just wanted to give you a shot of that sprayer working. When you saw it in my last video, it may have been, I couldn't get it spraying good because you got to make sure that you have the nozzle on good and tight. I didn't have it on good and tight, and I was trying to figure out what was going on, but I did still film that. But if you saw it sprayed, we've had such a it's been moist, wet. It was raining, so I had a lot of flies in here. Started to get a little bit of ants, some ants and stuff. So as you saw, I sprayed along the floor, and they like to get up on like the hot sun. So on this white door, they like to get on here. And I have one chicken here in the brooder, recovering nicely from a respiratory issue. So I sprayed all of the floor. Let me show you. I have a little bit of flies here, but I sprayed all of the floor, sprayed in here. I cleaned, well, it looks like I cleaned a few days ago. I cleaned all this out. But when you get it working right, it sucks. I mean, really quick. It goes through that really quick. So you got to have it on exactly what you're spraying really good. And they've been pooping in here a little bit. So that does attract flies. So I'll be scraping all that up. But I wanted to get it all cleaned up of flies and stuff and get it sprayed. But it's a beautiful morning out here. Still going to be hot in the probably in the 90s a little bit. And they said reaching the index of 100. Here's my Tyson. I've decided Tyson needs to find a new home because he's not very nice to me. But I want to go a different route with my breeding. A lot of my breeds, I'm wanting to move I'm going to move a Brahma rooster over here and a Brahma rooster over there, and I'm going to start breeding. I want a little bit bigger bird, so I have about 7 roosters out of these little ones, and Tyson's he's a good rooster. He does his job. He takes care of his girls. He just doesn't like me. And I've always, some of them run up to me. See, like this one. Hey there, girl. But see, he doesn't like me talking to him. He's very jealous. He doesn't like me talking to him. He doesn't like me petting them. There's a couple of them that I can pick up and hold, but they all want to come run and see what I'm talking about. And he gets very jealous of me. So I know you don't like me talking to your girls. I'm sorry. But they love me. They all love me, and they want to see what I've got to give to them. You all go away now. You're getting me in trouble. So, dang dog. But the garden is kind of winding down. Thank God. I'm still pulling some tomatoes out, and I'm just throwing them in the freezer for some fresh cooking. Any and all kinds I can get pulled up and just throw in the freezer and use them for some fresh cooking and throw them in some stuff, and they taste really fresh during the winter. Here's the other roosters. So Hershey, he's got to find him a new home. He's looking crazy at me. Then I got this little cream leg bar rooster, and then I got his little brother right there, and then another one sitting. And these two right here, I hate to, they're like 2 peas in a pod. They grew up together. One's a cream leg bar and one's an Easter egger that I got from Tractor Supply. So they raised up together, and they're just stuck to each other. And then here's the other rooster. And he doesn't say much to me. He doesn't, so maybe that's I don't know, maybe that's the way to go, is I don't befriend him, I don't talk to him. He doesn't talk to me, he doesn't bother me. Him and this other girl hang out, but I think I'm going to try and go a different little bit different direction with what I'm raising. I'm wanting to do dual purpose birds, and these Brahmas are really beautiful, so I'll be maybe I can't shoot from this side because that sun is just woo beaten down. But the Brahmas, I'm studying up on the Brahmas and getting interested in them. So let's see what I've got up here. So here I've cut a lot of this down and cleaned it out, but I had a few cantaloupes still stuck in there, but I think I got them out, so I'm gonna have to get on to cleaning that. I have one little one left there. My peppers now, I guess my concentration now is my peppers and getting my peppers growing out, and there's a few peppers going in there, and see I have a few tomatoes back there, a few tomatoes here, a couple rotten tomatoes, so I got to pick up some of so every little bit of tomatoes that I've got left, I'm just gonna put those in the freezer, and like I said, use them for fresh. And they do, after they're frozen and you get them out, they do taste fresher than, you know, what a canned tomato would be or whatever. But I'm starting to cut all this back, and as a stem is without any tomatoes on it, I just cut it all, throw it here in a pile, and then I'll come and collect them all and throw them in the compost bin. I've got that chipper that just looks like a big weed eater in a drum. I'll put those all through there and grind those up and get my compost bin. I need to go get some soil. We've lent our truck, my black truck, I lent it to somebody who was without a vehicle for a little while. So when I get that back, I'm gonna go see if there's any. Usually around August, September, which that's now, they're running out of that that soil that I get. But I want to top all of the beds off, and I'm gonna grow my start my brassicas and start my carrots and my onions and all my fall planting stuff. And this is my back garden. I wanted to come back here and look at it. Is everybody just over the heat like I am? I don't even want to get outside. I'm just so over this heat. It's my squash plants. They grow so quick. Look at that. I need to tie that up, so I need to get that one tied up. That one didn't make it. I've got this one that's doing good. It throws out a squash every so often, but it's been so moist and wet here that get out of the garden. What are you doing? Get out. Here. Get out. Usually when he's digging out here, he's found something. Go. And it can be anywhere from, get out. Get out. Get. It can be anywhere from a chicken in the garden to a butterfly to a mouse or something like that. But he'll go after anything. But you can see all of this growth right here, and there's not a whole lot left. I got some few nice tomatoes I'm getting. There's still some green ones, which I pulled them and let them. And I even put my green ones. You can start putting your green ones up in the freezer. And you can add those, like if you can spaghetti, your spaghetti sauce and stuff, you can take those green ones and grind those up and roast them and then add them back into your sauce and give it a real fresh taste, a little bit of a tang. Still a lot of cherry tomatoes, so I'm getting those really good. That fell over, so I had to set it back up. And the chickens keep getting in here digging all this up. So that poor bell pepper and that pepper plant, I don't know how good. It really needs to be in the full sun. And I wasn't too mad when that fell over because it was getting a lot more sun. But here's my heatless jalapenos. And I made I made jalapeno poppers the other day, and you take a bite out of them, and see, I put these pots in here, so hopefully they won't dig in this dirt. But I'm going to see if those peppers kick on. Well, those are doing beautifully. I'm seeing how big those are supposed to get. I need to pull those. But I made some jalapeno poppers the other day, and take a bite out of them, and it has a real good pepper flavor and no heat. I don't know if a lot of people can see these bugs. Ugh, they're like all over. Hitting me in the face and everything. But I ran out of my, I use insecticide soap, wherever I've got that at, but it's empty. I don't have any more. I'll show you. You can get that from Walmart or from Lowe's or somewhere like that. And I just use that insecticide soap on it. I've been spraying the crap out of them because it's empty. So, and that takes care of them for a little while. But I'm hoping they just go away. Oh, look, I got to pick these. The chickens will get in here and get them. So I've got that one right there. Don't be coming back in here. See, he opens up my gates. Get out. Get out. He opens up my gates. And then comes right on in. Come on, Duke. And then he opens up my gates and then lets the chickens in. See, like he just did right there. These gates are great if you could leave the door locked. But see, he'll come and push them open. And then they stay cracked open like that. And then, but these are just a suggestion. I've got a couple that fly right over the top anyway, and I have to get onto them. But anyway, if you're new to my channel, I usually kind of introduce myself and everything, but I wanted to get that sprayer out and show how I sprayed it. That wasn't a very good demonstration on the last time on those ones that I did. And I couldn't figure out what was going on, but what it is you've got to get all the connection. It was operator error. You got to get all the connections really good and tight. And I mean, it sucks it right down and sprays. And it's a really good sprayer. It sprays really good. It doesn't just do that. It doesn't just do that little spitting and sputtering like it was doing. And I needed to put everything down, had to put it down and stop everything and get it tightened up. But you get my meaning on my on how it works, and it does work really good because it sucks it down quick. I kind of like it kind of sputtering because it lasts a lot longer. Because boy, when it starts to spray, you better have what you want to spray like in its sights, because it just sucks that bottle down and you're filling up that bottle. But it does really good in there. I'll go in there and scrape all that chicken poop out of there. Maybe put a little bit of sand down. I've got the old girl over here, because of the storms that we had, her bedding got wet. She lives in a dog kennel because she can't get along with nobody. But got to change out her bedding and stuff, and I'll do that first thing this morning because like I said, it's right now I'm sitting here and I'm sweating. I am so tired of this humidity. But it's 100% humidity because we got some good storms last night. And let's see what he's digging into. Ain't no telling. But get all that done first thing this morning. And then I mostly just relax the rest of the day. My canning is just about, like I said, my canning's just about done. I got a boatload of ketchup done. When I cooked it down, I did a whole lot. I did a whole roaster pan. Thinking once I get it cooked down, but I put them in small jars because you don't use a whole lot of ketchup at one time. So I did them in all my little half pint, I guess, jars. And there was a lot of them. So I got all that done. Got marinara sauce. Got my spaghetti sauce. Got all that done. And like I said, I'm putting tomatoes away in the freezer. So during the winter time, if I need some more, I can throw it all together, throw it all in the roaster, and make another batch if I need to. I did that last year, but I'm trying to save my freezer space. We'll see what we do on deer this year. But I do have a lot in the freezer. Like I said, that turkey I made up, and of course that'll probably all be gone by time. Let's see, we're August, September, October. We still have 3 months, like November 15th or whatever that second weekend in November is when deer hunting opens up, and I don't. My husband might get a doe or something, but I don't take a deer until November, December time frame, because the babies are still small. They're still with mama, and they still are around November, December, but they're bigger, and they can survive on their own by that time, by November, December time frame. And then we have January, and then the end of January it goes to buck only for like 2 weeks in February. That was a new rule that the state implemented. So see, I'm just sitting here just sweating. And I usually don't, after January, I don't hunt any. And it depends on the cold too. Like I said, I know you're not supposed to complain about heat, and you're not supposed to complain about cold. But I hate the cold. But this heat just about does me in. I think I got heat exhaustion a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just now getting over it. If you've never, I watched about the same time when I was sick. I was like, I don't know. I picked up a cold somewhere, and it's very unusual for me. I haven't been sick since COVID, and that's what been a couple years ago. And even COVID, I didn't have a whole lot of symptoms or anything. I just sat around and waiting for it to hit me, but it never really did. But this, it was in my chest, it was in my ears, it come up to my nose, and I'm like, I can't figure out what's going on, and I just feel really like crap. And I was watching what's his name, Brandon, on the Eddie Family Farms, and he went to the hospital because he started feeling bad and not feeling really good, and he had heat exhaustion. So all of his symptoms were the same as mine. So I was drinking a lot of water, and drinking water, and the more water I drank, the thirstier I got. So I kept drinking and kept drinking and kept drinking, and just feeling like crap for like maybe a week. And I still have a little bit of this cough. But I guess that's what it was, is after the initial 110 degrees for like a week, I really didn't get out. But then after that, it was in the mid-90s, and I was trying to catch up on a lot of stuff that needed to be done out here. And I guess that's where you can get heat exhaustion really easy, is when you don't think it's that hot outside and you can work outside. And I would get real hot. I'm getting really hot, but I'm not sweating. So that's another sign. So I guess that's kind of what I had, and I'm still trying to kick it. This is really the second day that, yesterday I didn't feel that good either. So I'm just taking it easy, and this is the first day that I've felt really good that I could get out and do some stuff. And the last time, when I did the last video and sprayed the front and was doing the front and everything, I was kind of feeling a little bit under the weather then, and then right after that it kicked in. So, but anyway, if you like my content, I try and I do farming on a very small scale. Well, I say for this, I've got 1/3 of an acre I think I work off of back here, and I keep the lawn mowed all the time, and it's such a small area. I have electric lawnmower that works wonderful. I don't have to fight with trying to get a battery lawnmower started. But we have the pool back here, and I'll show you. And I have my one pen over there. My greenhouse right now, this time of year, is just kind of used for storage. But I have the Brahmas are in that little triangle right there. And they're growing up fast. So I have this little area right here. And then on the back side of that triangle is the dog kennel where the mean, I call her Big Mama. That's where she lives with her baby. And then she kind of has this area to run around. There's a little bit of area over here that she runs around in. But as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of area. That's a, it used to be a 20 by 40, but then I extended it out a little bit. I cleaned out from underneath that tree and stuff. And I don't know how good that's done me because that back bed gets a lot of shade and it doesn't really... the potatoes didn't really do good in there, so that might be just for like herbs and stuff. But everything that I eat and I can and it lasts us a good year is grown right there in that space. And then this is my big chicken coop. This is our original one, and half of it is storage. The rabbits we moved them back there in the back, and that's where my compost bin is back there. And then half of that is my brooder box, and then if I get a sick chicken or whatever, they can stay in I put them in a pen in that area, and then mostly all my seed and everything is there. But their run is right there, but mostly this is their area that they have. They have this little square area along with the little red chicken house is my teenagers. And then this is this chicken house is my black copper marins, and then their back door opens up to this area over here. So they have their own run over here. And then over there in the side yard, which I showed you, is 1, 2, 3 more planter beds. And Mr. Tyson wanting to hear what I'm talking about. What? Don't you even look at the top of that fence. And he's been bad. He's been jumping over into the neighbor's yard, which the neighbors don't mind. They walk along that fence and they get on the other side. But I show everybody how, you know, I don't have 50 acres. I don't have even 2 acres. We have an acre here, acre and a half. And my husband insists on keeping everything in the backyard. I don't know who they're barking at. But he insists on everything I keep in the backyard. So I got a whole half an acre down in the front yard that is like a groomed yard that is like we live in a subdivision, so it's got to stay all pretty looking, and then all my farm is back here back here in the back. So for you to get started, and this does get overwhelming for me sometimes. Of course, I'm retired. And this is a full-time job, keeping up with the gardening, keeping up. I've got probably still a total of about 50 chickens. Chicken math is real. I don't know how we got like that. But anyway, it kind of evolves. And as you get your chickens, you kind of figure out what direction you want to go in. And I was introduced to these Brahmas at the flea market about a couple months ago, and I just love them. They are so cute, them playing and stuff, and I hope their temperament is really good. And we were wanting to do meat birds. Well, as you can see, it's so packed back here. I said, there's nowhere we can do meat birds. But the Brahmas, you can breed with like the black copper marin, which is they say is a dual purpose bird. But I tell you, like with Tyson, if I was to take him to freezer camp, it's not even worth it. He may be up underneath all those big, beautiful feathers. You think it's a big bird. There may be 3 pounds up underneath there, and I'd rather he find another home. And like I said, he's a good bird. I raised him. He was born December 26th of 2024, and I raised him from a baby. He was the only one that hatched. And then the mama was ready to get rid of him whenever he was little. So I got him another little girl to grow up with, and she's over there with him. But I didn't handle him a whole lot, so he is what he is. But he's a good boy. He does his job, and he watches, and I hear him. Even the planes, when the planes fly over low, he'll alert, and everybody will run. I just think that's so funny. But anyway, he's a good bird. He's a rooster, and he does what he does. But I'm just kind of wanting to go a different direction, and if I can cultivate some bigger birds like my black copper marins, and if I have roosters, and you can't hardly give a rooster away. So if I can find a bigger bird, grow a bigger bird, and make it pay to do all of the processing. We've processed meat birds before, and it was wonderful. We filled up our freezer with let's see, I got 23 birds. Processed all of them, and had chicken for a while. Went through those and just haven't found the opportunity, or I really don't have the space for them. So if I can grow Brahmas, they produce eggs really good, and they're a good large bird. So if I don't mind hatching them out if I can use them for meat birds and process them and make it worth my while. So that's kind of my thinking and the direction I'm going. And then I just happened to start hatching some of these hatches now, they're starting to grow out, and they're ended up being roosters. So I'm going to try and find some homes for them. And, but back to gardening and what size you have. I started out, kind of small, 20 by 40, and expanded that out a little bit. And of course, my rooster houses have grown. But I'm still like right here on this little third of an acre, and they have plenty of room to kind of get out and run around. Plenty of room if I need to. They have their own runs, so if they need to stay in their run, if we go away or whatever, everybody has their run except for the little red house. Of course, it has a run on the bottom, and I'll probably pull that out. I filled it up with it's a low spot, so it was getting really wet in there. So more over the winter time, I'll pull it out, put it on grass, and that way if we want to travel or whatever, everybody's locked up, they're secure. Excuse me. This cough. They're locked up and they're secure, and I have somebody come by and check the water and the feed. I do have the big barrel feeders that I can put out and put out the waters. The only ones is the Brahmas are in this little temporary house. So as they grow, and they're growing pretty good, they'll go over with the black copper marins in that house, and I'll start raising them over there and then distribute them out as long as I can get rid of these other roosters. I don't think these other roosters will accept them. I don't know why, but they're very finicky about who comes into their... And I thought black copper marins... See, I wanted to get black copper marins because I thought their temperament was very good. Well, just like any other bird, they have their little quirks and stuff, and they've only accepted a couple hens. And the other hens, they just won't accept them. But... for anybody that's looking or asking or thinking they need a homestead and need 50 acres or 100 acres, I'm telling you, this right here, I would love to have the property in the back over here. And we've asked the farmers back there if they want to sell it. It's probably 2, maybe 3 acres. And I would love to have that property back there. Of course, more property means more work. So the best you can do is check with your ordinance, I guess. We live out in the county, so there's really not any restrictions, and see what you can grow, see what you can have. It's really funny to me that they talk about no roosters. My hens are just as loud as the roosters are, but my neighbors they don't care because I keep them supplied in salsas, in fresh vegetables, and lots of eggs. So I keep them stored up on that, and they put up, and they like to stand over here and watch the animals and stuff. And a few of them have gotten to where they'll jump over the fence. And but once I explained to them, they wanted to know what they were doing, scratching and always scratching and pecking at the ground and pecking at the ground. And they wanted to know how my yard was so beautiful, thinking that these birds would tear it all up. I said, no, they're getting the bugs. You know, they're looking for worms, they're looking for bugs. So they don't mind so much that the roosters are coming and cleaning their yard, or this little side yard that they have of bugs and stuff. But I get onto them, and all I have to do is holler at them, and they'll get back over on this side of the fence. I just catch them over there every once in a while. But this is Graham's backyard living, and this is just my backyard, and it's getting smaller by the minute. But we are a little bit packed, but I can do everything I need to do right here. I've harvested I've harvested everything I need to harvest. We do all of my tomato products, do all of my cooking at home, got all my pickles from all my cucumbers, got relishes, salsas, and I cook according to what's in my pantry. We'll go ahead in here and see. But again, I wanted to show you everybody. I showed them on previous, but this is what I mix in that spray, and that takes care of. And then another thing I wanted to show you too. This rodent repellent is a natural repellent, and it is full of mint. I tell you what, and so I mix that with the other, that mint smell makes your coop smell really good, but you got to be careful with it because it is very, very strong. So I mix that, and it's a rodent repellent. Rodents do not like the smell of mint, so I go around and I spray the bottom of that coop, because I've had rats in there where my big coop. And so I go around and I spray the outside, and then with that Primatene, I spray put that mix in there. And like I said, in previous videos that I've had, I haven't had no ants at all this summer in my house. And that was my main goal. Now still, they'll pop up in the garden. They'll pop up in the chicken house. Like I said, it's been really wet, and we had a storm last night, so of course those ants are going to come up out of the ground. So all you do is go follow them around and their nests and stuff, and that's what I saw, some ants come up in the bottom, so I sprayed all that, and then the flies were really bad. So when you spray that mint, that combination of that mint and that spray, all the flies will be gone, and they'll be out of there, and I didn't want them around that one bird that I've got contained. But I'm going to show you my pantry. Let me see if I can turn a light on here. I don't have no lights on. I still have it down kind of low. But thank God I'm nearing the end of my canning season. And then I take all of my, I need to get this ground up. So I take all of my tomato skins, and I'll run this and put them in the dehydrator. I dehydrate them all down. Here's one batch. I'll grind them. I'll grind those down. And then this becomes powder. This is a thickener. So whenever you're making your spaghetti and stuff, you can add that back into your spaghetti to thicken it up at the time if you don't get it thick enough, I guess. But let me show you this mess. So I have a lot of my jellies and jams. My ketchup is all up there in that corner. I have my salsas. I have all of my pickle products. I have bread and butter pickles. I have dill pickles. My bruschetta, I think I showed you the other day. This is all of my turkey broth. I do have a lot more broth, but I've run out of shelf space, even though we redid this. I still have some corn for last year, so I don't need to do no corn this year. And then I have my apple jelly. I still have some Christmas, which is cranberry and strawberry jam. This is peach jelly. Here's some of my jellies. Here's some of my soups. What's this one? I think this is just a vegetable. Oh, this is my taco soup. And one thing I know I need to make. So I have down there I have squash and zucchini and some summer salsa that I made of just a mix. So it's the pantry there is pretty full, so then I have to revert back. I have to come over here, and then all my plain tomatoes, I still have some beans canned. And I have another little cubby hole up underneath here that I've got of stuff. So as you can see, I have plenty of stuff canned, and all of that came out of my garden. I do need to make some, which would be really good. And I've been breaking open like a jar of that turkey broth. And what's really good is some beef broth. If you, my farmer that I get some of my beef from and stuff, I can get the bone marrow cuts, and that's what I need to do. I need to roast up. I do have several in the, but I'll wait till cooler weather because I don't want to heat up the kitchen. But what I do is I'll get the bone broth, I'll roast those down till the marrow comes out of it and stuff, and make onion soup out of that. So it'll be really concentrated. But I made several jars of that last year, and made the onion soup and put the little, get the little breads and put down in there. Then you put your cheese, whatever of choice that you want, and then pour that over a hot, get that real hot and pour that over the top. Oh my gosh, when you're sick or you're under the weather, that is so satisfying. A couple of times I took while I was sick, this last week I got some broth out, and I don't have any sauteed onions. That's what you got to do, is you got to get a bunch of onions, saute them down, and you can put them in the freezer and just freeze them. But I made actual onion soup out of a bunch of, and you saute your onions and can them in broth. And it's really concentrated, so it's so good and it's so satisfying. And that's what I need to make some more of. But I'll do that after the weather starts cooling off. But I've been taking the turkey broth, because that's what I have right now. I need to look for some beef broth, see if I have any. And been putting that on the stove and cooking it up and just drinking it like that. And it breaks up all this. But I've been doing 3 drops. I do 3 drops of oregano oil in a little gel cap and fill the rest of it with black seed oil. And I'm taking that, and it clears all this up. I just haven't taken one this morning yet. But anyway, that's all my ailments. I just wanted to go down that rabbit hole a minute. But there's a lot of things that you can do with what I've learned to cook and can and freeze. Earlier in the year, I got all of my cilantro cut and in the freezer. I put them in freezer bags, flatten it out, and that way I can just break off a little corner or whatever that I need for cooking, for salsas and stuff. But I've got a lot of salsas already made. Because I had to stock the pantry last year from scratch, or the year before I started. And if you want to start in canning, that's what you need to do, is like salsas and tomato products and stuff like that. You can't hardly go wrong with that because there's so much acid in there, and you can get them canned and stuff. And that's kind of what got me started. And then I fill my pantry. So my pantry's full, and it's just everything out that I grew out of that let's see, I used to say it's 20 by 40, but it's probably 20 by 60 space, with raised bed gardens. And I start all my stuff from seed, and in the spring, start them in the greenhouse, get them planted out and watch them grow, and then just start harvesting in July as you're here in Alabama. Your full guns in July, and then August it starts tapering off. But now that I start cutting everything away and cutting everything back, you start turning your beds and planting your carrots, onions, your brassicas, and getting ready for the cool weather. None of that's being planted out yet, but it'll be next month when the weather cools off. I'll start planting those. I've had cabbage, broccoli, all of that, Brussels sprouts. Here where I'm at in northern Alabama, they grow right up underneath the ice. We had a good ice storm, freezing cold. They grow just fine. And then first thing in the spring, I harvest them before it gets too warm and before they bolt. And have my cabbage. I canned a bunch of cabbage. I think I'm almost done with all my cabbage, because I add that to my vegetable base that I have and make a cabbage stew. And then you add one of the pint jars of just plain tomatoes, and you have a wonderful soup. And then you can add your hamburger, deer meat. The last stew I made was with deer. I chunked up deer meat, added that to it, and you have an instant soup that you don't have to gather everything up from scratch. It's all in a few jars, put it together, and it's ready to go. But anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for following me on this journey. I know I did a lot of talking. I usually try and do a lot more interesting stuff. But anyway, this is just what's on my mind today. And I wanted to thank everybody for following me and supporting me on my channel. And if there's any questions that you have about canning, about gardening this time of year and where we're going with it, and then just taking time and relaxing for yourself. That's the hardest thing for me to do, is just sit back and let everything happen. And it's not, I like it when I can sit out with the chickens, because time just goes by. When I'm sitting just visiting with the chickens and watching them and their little crazy things that they get into and they're doing, time really flies by. But when I can't, I watch Brandon and what's her name? Stephanie on Eddie Family Farms. If you want to see a bigger, I think they have 17.5 acres, and I think they just acquired some other land, and they're in Oklahoma. And I love just sitting and watching them. I think I've watched all their videos so far. So they need to put out some more videos. But I watch them and kind of living my dream through them. I wish I had a little bit more land, but I don't. So this is what I'm working with. And if I had my druthers, I'd be chopping down some bushes that they're not producing for me, so I really don't care to have them. But my husband's like, no, you can't be chopping no bushes down. But I just want to thank you all for supporting my channel. And if you want some other content, if you ask about, I know several people were asking about the sugar ants and the other ants, but I'm telling you, that spray was wonderful as far as keeping any ants. And if you watch some of my other videos, it'll show you where I spray the outside of the house. And I should probably do that here this weekend sometime, is go through and spray all around the house again, since we had a rain. And it's not a one and done thing. You know, that's why we have pest control come out every month, which we don't here. We have them every other month or so. And I haven't seen them in a while, so I don't know what they're doing. But it's a constant battle, and it's not like, you know, and you got to hit it early in the spring. So you can watch some of my other videos on that, and I kind of explain all that. But if you have any questions, or if you have any hints on, and we all just try and help each other out and make life easier. And I learned a lot from Brandon and how he's raising his chickens. He's trying to get a hatchery going. So I've learned a few things from him. We can all learn from each other as we go through. And if something piques your interest and you have some questions about, just ask, get on there and leave me some comments, and do some shares. And if there's somebody, you know, that you think would be interested in this, please share with them and let me. I want to grow my channel. Like I said in one of my other videos, my main objective here is just to have documentation for my kids, for my grandkids, and they can see what their crazy grandma was doing in 2024, 2025, growing in the yard. And hopefully they can be inspired and maybe want to do, maybe follow in my footsteps or something, and long after I'm gone. So that was kind of my main objective. But I like hearing from people. I like comments, sharing. I want to build my channel and just have good content, like on a smaller scale. And I just wanted to encourage everybody out there. If you got to start in little grow bags, if you got to start in buckets, whatever you got to start growing in to have healthier food, be self-sustainable, all the way up to providing your family. Like in the wintertime, I don't do so much in the summer, but bake all my own breads. I can't hardly get any fruits or vegetables, and even try and eat them. If you understand the chemicals and stuff that it takes to make a perfect shiny apple, a perfect shiny peach with no bugs or anything like that, it's just, I can't hardly put anything like that in my mouth. So I try and stay as natural as possible. I try and shop farmers markets. I try and get everything as natural as possible, and can't hardly, these getting ruly, get outside. Can't hardly, purchase stuff that I know that's been heavily chemically treated, which alters, for a female, alters your hormones. And the same with eating chicken. I very rarely buy any chicken out of the store. Like I said, I get it from farmers markets, and I'm so excited that I'll get back, because I'll raise my own birds. I know where they come from. I know what I fed them, and it just makes it so much more enjoyable that I know that I don't have a bunch of chemicals put into my meats and into my vegetables. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here and get this loaded up. And like I said, share if you have some friends you want to share with. Let them know. And look around at some of Eddie Family Farms. I follow them. They have a lot of good information. They're in southern Oklahoma, I think. And I like to watch them. And there's a lot of information out there on YouTube on how to get started in homesteading and growing your own foods and being self-sustainable, or just having just kind of supplementing your grocery bill these days. I haven't been to the grocery store. We went to Sam's the other day because we have to get coffee. I can't grow coffee. So we had to get our coffee, our creamer, stuff like that. But I do like I get my 50-pound bag of sugar, my 50-pound bag of flour. If you saw it here in the pantry, this is what I store it in. I got those food grade containers. This is all-purpose flour. This is sugar. And then I get, I take the flour and I break it up and I put it in a smaller container and put it in the freezer. And leave it overnight, or a couple days maybe. I freeze it, make sure that it's free of like weevils or any kind of bugs or something like that, and then it goes into my container. And that way, I know I have a good amount of storage of flour and sugars and stuff like that to be able to cook with, just in case, we have we have a supply chain issue, or you know, the prices shoot up. That's the first time we've been to Sam's, I think we went in January. So I don't go very often, and the everyday grocery store, I may run down to the dollar store and get, my husband likes potato chips, so I haven't broke him on potato chips yet. So snacks, potato chips, what else? Just a few odds and ends here. But as far as going grocery and buying and all of my bulk stuff, I do not go to the grocery store to buy that kind of stuff and try and be as healthy as possible. So anyway, if you want any more information, or if you have any questions of me on how to get started on that, I know a lot of people look to YouTube and or Facebook. I see comments on Facebook, you know, how many acres do I need to homestead? We're not talking in acres. You're talking in square footage, and you look and see where you can put it. That space out there was going to be a fire pit. So when my husband started looking into getting the pavers to pave a 20 by 40 spot, we're talking $3,000-$4,000. I'm like, no, we're not doing that just to sit out here and sit amongst the mosquitoes every once in a while. You know, we sit out here every once in a while and start up a fire, like in the early spring when you want to get outside, and then in the fall when it gets nice and cold and all the mosquitoes are froze off, we'll start a fire out here. The kids will come over and we'll cook up some s'mores and some marshmallows and stuff. But $3,000-$4,000 for that kind of, just to do every once in a while, no. And luckily the growing bug hit me, and I decided to retire. And I told my husband, I'm going to grow everything we're going to eat. And my meal planning comes right out of this pantry. What have I got that I can cook up? So anyway, I am this time going to get off of here, and I'm going to tell you all that you don't need acres and acres of land. You can start out in a small little plot in your backyard, a few raised beds, and you can go to town. And it's hard work. It's not easy, but I have the satisfaction of knowing I know what kind of food is going into my body. And when you start rounding 60, 62, 64 years old, you can realize a lot of your health issues and stuff comes from your diet and all the years. And I may not be able to fix that now, but I can be healthy now, or healthy as I can be, and be able to live a little bit longer and maybe some pain-free. The inflammation gets me sometimes, but I'm still going to continue to grow my food and eat as healthy as I can. I still like my Oreo cookies, and will cheat on little things like that. And it's not 100%, you know, unless you're just adamant on going 100%. But my husband likes his potato chips. I like my some potato chips, and I like my Oreo cookies and stuff like that. I'm not a really good baker. I don't bake a lot. I do it in the wintertime and around the holidays. But other than that, to normally bake up cookies, if I could bake him cookies all the time, he would love it and he would eat them. But anyway, share, like, and have a wonderful day. And thank you all for following me. And I will catch you on another video.